you for joining us at the H.E.R. Entrepreneur Asia series. Okay, we have more people whom we are in meeting, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, all right, so just quick instructions for all of our attendees. So feel free to rename yourself in Zoom with your name, company, or contact or email, just like the way I do it. So if you see yourself in this small little box on the screen, you see yourself, you see mute, and you see 3 little dots. Click on the dots and you see rename. All you need to do is to rename, and this is for networking purpose later. All right, okay, but if you'd like to share your details in the chat, feel free to do so as well, so that you guys can continue to network even after the event. Okay, so here's the agenda for today. And we're gonna start off by sharing with you what H.E.R. Entrepreneur is all about. Well, you have seen the video, and H.E.R. Entrepreneur is an inclusive and diverse community of entrepreneurs, leaders, government investors across Asia, whom we connect on a yearly basis through conferences in Singapore, Malaysia, and hopefully to other parts of Asia after COVID. All right, it is an omni-channel media platform as well, where we inspire, educate, empower, and also connect the community. And we're doing this, you know, over Zoom this season. It's all virtual sessions, and we hope that we're able to connect more people across the world to do business. All right, so a little bit about us. Well, before COVID, we actually do hold several monthly LearnX Network sessions for the community, as you can see here, every month. And we also hold conferences where we invite C-suites and founders of various notable brands across Asia to share insights with us. And well, even with COVID, right, we still hold these sessions, but virtually, and this time with people from across the globe. All right, this is just some of the examples of the events that we have conducted. Okay, so for more further updates, feel free to like us on Facebook, H.E.R. Entrepreneur, on Instagram, LinkedIn, and this is our YouTube as well, bit.ly H.E.R. YouTube, where all of our videos are featured there. Okay, all right, so okay, so this section, I would like to invite our chapter leaders, all right, to introduce yourself, okay? So we have chapter leaders from Singapore, Ho Chi Minh, and Bangkok. So I'm gonna stop my share and introduce all of you on screen, all right? Okay, let's have Pachari. Pachari, where are you? And of course, okay, I'm gonna pin you. Okay, Pachari, hi.
What does that mean to pin me? Sawadee ka, everyone. Welcome. Glad to see you, Darshan and Kunalisa. My name is Pachari of Brand.Asia. I'm the managing director at a brand communications, marketing, and PR agency here in Thailand. But we work across the region as well as the globe because we're part of another network called PRN. Thank you, Renee, for hosting and making these platforms feasible for everybody to continue to network. I had a really good time, made a lot of good connections, and made new friends on LinkedIn. So I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's take on leadership amid adversity. So, and of course, if I could be of service to anyone here, do get in touch with me. I just took Renee's advice by changing my contact information with my email and telephone number.
All right, thank you so much, Pachari. How about yourself, Debbie?
So, hi everyone. Hello, I'm Debbie. Hello from Saigon. I'm in Vietnam right now. So I'm actually Singaporean, and I started a fashion platform. It's all about conscious lifestyle and fashion products. It's called Indiigo Culture, and we started in 2018. It's very lovely to meet you all today and to share more about People and Planet First philosophy. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Now I'd like to invite the speakers. So of course, Debbie will stay here. Lisa, okay. Alisa, I'm gonna add you, and also Yuki. So I'm gonna introduce all of our speakers today. Okay, so you are able to see all four of us. Okay, so a little bit about Yuki. Yuki is a natural beauty underwater. She's spectacular, stunning, charismatic, and only being in water, Yuki can express her feelings and emotions. And ocean is her home, where she performs, dances, and chases dreams. So she's the COO of the Mermaid Federation International, MFI, the world's first organization providing for professional mermaid classes. So from a leisure sport to professional underwater performer, instructors training, and schools management. So Yuki is a mermaid and a professional underwater performer. So you can also call her the ocean advocate, who wishes to influence everyone to love and conserve more for a beautiful ocean. So, well, she has a few goals, right? She has a Master of Science, and she engages in two key fields in women empowerment and environmental protection. And next up, we have Alisa. Now, Alisa is from Thailand. Alisa is a communications coach, a champion of multiple public speaking competitions, and a translator. And prior to becoming a communications coach, she worked in leadership development at a multinational FMCG company, and her career highlights also include working as an educational consultant at a global college consultancy. As a graduate from Brown University with a Bachelor of Economics, she's currently the social chair of Brown Alumni Association in Thailand, and she's also the president of the Bangkok Advanced Toastmasters Club. And of course, her teaching specializes in public speaking, business presentation, and debate, teaching both working professionals and children as well. So next up, we have Debby. Debby Wong is the founder of Indiigo Culture. She's from Singapore, but she's expanding her business in Vietnam. So she's representing us and H.E.R entrepreneur Ho-Chi-Minh. And she's a conscious fashion and lifestyle online boutique that started in Singapore in 2018. And Indiigo Culture partners with makers, designers across Asia Pacific, and believes in people and planet first philosophy. And Debby moved to Vietnam in 2020 to start an in-house line with local artisans. All right, welcome all of you here today. Now, you know, today's topic is about leadership amidst adversity. All right, maybe we'll kickstart this discussion maybe with you ladies sharing with us, why did you even decided to start your own business in the first place? Right? So tell us a little bit more about yourself and why did you even start business? Okay, let's start with Debby.
Hi. So why I even started Indiigo Culture? Actually, back in 2018, I just left my very first job, which was in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It was a great experience, very demanding. But at the end of the day, I realized that that's not what I wanted to pursue in life. And it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do. But I realized what spoke to me was, you know, hoping to make a change in the future of fashion. Because ever since I was a kid, it's something I've been fascinated with, from playing, you know, dress up with my mother's clothes to even, you know, shop hunting for bargains in across university. But I do realize that it's also one of the most polluting and damaging industries. And I thought if I could start a small platform that also supports smaller makers and designers, it could hopefully make a difference.
Right. Okay, so next we have Yuki. Yuki, introduce yourself and why did you even start this business?
Hello everyone, this is Yuki, the CEO of MFI, and MFI actually stands for Mermaid Federation International, which means we're about mermaids, the underwater people. The reason why we started up this business is because the most common sports around the world are mostly swimming, synchronized swimming, diving, that kind of thing. But we found out that a lot of girls and a lot of people actually just want to go into the water and have fun and be pretty and take photos or even do something amazing underwater, not just for depth and not just holding your breath. So we started up Mermaid Federation International, and we made mermaiding easy for people to learn. For example, there are a lot of mermaids overseas in the European countries, but they actually don't know how to learn mermaiding, and they have to do it by scratches, bits by bits, learning by themselves. So we actually wrote different courses for beginners, advanced people, and also instructors, and let them learn mermaiding and how to go underwater to perform step by step in a structured way. So now we are currently in many countries in Asia Pacific area, for example, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, Thailand, and also Taiwan and China, and etc. So if you're interested, let me know, and I'll pass back the time to Renee. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much. And how about yourself, Alisa?
Thank you, Renee. My name is Alisa, and I am the co-founder and head coach of public speaking at Coach Alisa Academy. So the reason I started my coaching practice is actually started way since before I was born. I'm from an entrepreneurial family. My parents have a family business. So the idea of doing something of my own always stuck with me since when I was young. And that combined with my passion in education, actually, because I went to a Thai public high school. And, you know, in Thailand or in many places in Asia, it's normal, it's expected for students to be identical and to have similar opinions and not to express themselves too much in their classrooms. So my life-changing moment happened when I went to the US for my undergraduate studies. And there I got to learn not only economics, but also persuasive communications classes, which I learned that to succeed in a world of multicultural people, you need to be able to be assertive and be confident and have your own voice. So this experience stuck with me, and since I came back from the US, I've worked in Unilever and I've worked in Crimson Education, which is just a small education consultancy sending kids to go overseas like myself. But the entrepreneurial spirit finally kicked in, and I decided to take a leap of faith, left the company last year, and now I've been doing this coaching practice for a year. So to help students find their voice and make their mark and make their opinions heard. And that's why I'm starting my own business. So back to you, Renee.
All right, so one very important question is, what are the biggest challenges that you've faced while running a business? All right, so for Debby, you're in a stage where you're growing the business and you're going overseas, you're setting up a team there, and then COVID hits, right? And you're stuck there. But are there other challenges? Maybe you could share with us what are the challenges that you face, and the rest of the speakers, of course, you have to prepare for this question.
Definitely. For us, we're still very, very young company, of course, but I felt like one of the biggest challenges that we had to face right from the very beginning was how we select the kind of designers, artisans, and maybe part of our philosophy, people on Planet First, is about sustainability. But I didn't want to, only preach to the choir and only work with designers that have somehow let's say, checked all the boxes, all the green boxes. Because to me, that felt very limiting. So it took us a while, but then we realized that what we're looking for is people who are willing to change their methods and their mindset. So we're happy to work with designers from across the spectrum. And with this kind of open-mindedness, then we're able to connect with more of them as well. So some of our artisans and makers are right at the beginning of their green journeys. So they're just doing smaller things like cutting back on one-use plastics, or perhaps incorporating more recyclable materials. On the other end of the spectrum, we now have also designers who are taking way bigger steps. Like one of them, her factory runs on 60% solar energy. She uses more than 40% soft fabrics for her clothing and things like that. So it took us a while to really refine what we're looking for, but I think that it has really helped us clarify our position in the market and also be able to tell the stories of all our designers with passion. Thank you.
Right. It's about sustainable fashion. This also very much aligned with Yuki's direction, right, of not wasting plastic. So share with us a little bit more, Yuki. Why, some people are asking, what's this Mermaid foundation all about? What is this? So yeah, I'm sure there's more. What inspired you to create this, and the challenges that you face in business?
If you talk about challenges, I think the overall market environment is the most challenging thing for us, because underwater sport this thing is not very common and popular in all countries. For example, Hong Kong, Singapore, these places are very busy and people don't even have time to have fun a lot of the times. They're not very work-life balanced. And in that sense, it's very hard to first bring up the sense of, oh yeah, you can actually play in water, you can actually have fun in water. So this is the biggest challenge that we're doing now, which is raising the awareness and also the interest of the general public to know more about underwater sport, and especially going underwater for performance and also mermaiding. And the second most challenge that I face throughout, because we have instructors in a lot of countries and cities, and it's the cultural difference. For example, even just with Mandarin, people speak different Mandarin in China and Taiwan. They speak in different accents. They use different social media. And even for English, like Malaysians speak in Malaysian accent, and Hong Kong people speak standard British accent. So these are the things that I encounter the most, which is how can I incorporate different instructors to work together overseas and also to bring a better future. For example, we will ask some instructors to draft and also write courses for us, and we all often encounter a lot of cultural differences that we have to speak out a lot and communicate a lot in order to come with a thing that can suit for many countries and many markets. And also social media is also one of the challenges. For example, China uses more on WeChat, more on 小红书, Weibo, that kind of thing. But the rest of the countries use more in Instagram, some use LinkedIn, some use Facebook. So this is something we have to incorporate as well. For example, our Facebook serve for all the markets. How can I tailor-make messages in the social media to work with different countries and target different ads to different countries effectively? And for COVID-19, the biggest challenges for me is I don't have a pool. So when I don't have a pool, I don't have a class. So that's basically the biggest challenge I have now. But I'm thankful that COVID-19 is actually getting better in many countries. For example, Taiwan and China, they're completely back onto full functioning. Malaysia is getting better. CMCO is only in part of the places. Hong Kong is still in a situation, but we have to work around with it. So I guess it's being persistent and patient and committed to this thing, and work out with my staff and my instructors and motivate them in any sort and provide them with any support that I can give.
Okay, how about yourself, Alisa? I think it could be a mix of challenges or even opportunities for you, because you do online virtual education.
Yeah, totally. So this is very tricky because we started our business in February, and then the Thai government announced curfew and basically advised or encourage people to stay at home, and that meant that many schools were closed. So as an educational institution, right, we had to follow the policy and we closed the shop. So that meant that we had to make a quick decision whether we're gonna pause teaching or do we keep going. And we decided to move all of our classes online just within the matter of the first week. We went out right away. And I think we went out to communicate with the parents right away that, hey, we are still here. If your kids still want to continue learning, let's make sure that we keep the momentum going. We are here for you. So I think with COVID-19, it's a great opportunity to show that you care and that you're adaptive and flexible, ready to change with the world, right? So in March and April, 90% of our classes were online, and it was a very good chance for me to learn how to make online meetings and classes fun. And we're talking about small kids, so we're talking about like 10 to 18 years old, how to use Zoom and make it fun for them. So I have to like go all out, and my energy has to be 150% in order to keep them entertained. So the result was happy students, and when the students are happy, the parents are happy too. And I think that was like a true test of style, because since then we have had some very strong referrals from this group of parents who appreciate that we stuck with them, right? We stick with them, and now I think going forward, Thailand is doing very well in terms of COVID-19. I know at least some people have decided to move to Thailand because it's safer than in the US, like Darshan. But anyway, so Thailand is quite safe, and I think that things are back to almost normal, like 95% normal. So I'm looking forward to doing more in-person classes in the future. But I'm very grateful of the opportunity to test how online public speaking can work, and it did work, and it's gonna work for next year if we have to do it again. So the challenge actually put us on our toe, and we keep improving with time.
Oh, that's nice. All right. So, you know, during this difficult period, how are you guys engaging your team, your teammates, your staff, your clients as well, right? With remote working, you know, you can't go to the office. The way you communicate will change. And you probably have your partners or your teammates overseas as well. And you can't really fly, right? So, of course, this question to Alisa would be your advice on how to communicate, how entrepreneurs can communicate better with their teammates or their clients, remote, and you know. So, share with us a little bit more. Let's start with Debby. How do you go about with this in terms of engagement, communication remotely? Yeah.
Well, honestly, I moved over to Vietnam around March this year. So I actually flew in right before the pandemic really took off. So on one hand, I'm really lucky to have made it to the country where I wanted to be in. But on the other hand, the rest of my plans were just thrown out of the window, which I'm sure is the case for many entrepreneurs out there as well. So the thing is, one of our major ways of connecting with our customers is through pop-up and fireside chats. So we have actually done this mostly in Singapore. We have also done this in New York City as well as in Saigon. So this year we have done, well, none basically since March. Honestly, that's quite a shock to our system. And we've been finding it very difficult to connect with our customers and our team. So one thing we've been focusing more on, which I'm sure everybody has as well, is going digital. So we have done a little things like started blog posts. So we've thought of a way to connect with our customers more on the verbal written storytelling instead, not verbal, written storytelling, as opposed to what we usually used to do, which was verbal. So that's definitely one thing we've done. Something we are looking to do in the next quarter is to use a lot more of the social media tools out there, such as Instagram Live. We'll be bringing on board our makers and designers and having, well, virtual fireside chats there instead. So these are some of the little changes that we are making amidst this global pandemic.
Virtual fireside without the fire. Okay, so we have Yuki. Yuki, share with us, you know, how do you engage with your clients and your partners, your teammates, you know? Yeah, no water means, yeah, do you have portable pool or something? Any new innovation? Yeah, feel free to share, Yuki. How do you go about engaging with them? Yeah.
So I can share in two parts. One is for my staff and my instructors. Another one is to my clients, customers, for example, that means my students. The first thing for my staff and my instructors, they are actually all located out of Hong Kong. Like I'm the only one in Hong Kong. So my office and my staff are all in Taiwan or Malaysia. So during this time since February, I have not gone out. And so I have to do online back to forth communication with them every single time. So I would say the biggest thing that I've done is I really set extremely clear workflow schedules and deadline and put them onto a very tight schedule for every single thing to make sure everything is on track. That is the main major thing that I do. And also increase personal touch. For example, I will do some games with them online, like wolf games. And I also prepare extra personal touch gifts for them. For example, customized gifts during this time, Christmas gift with their name, with their face on it, and etc. And on the client side, we have done some social campaigns in the beginning of COVID-19 where basically there's no pool at all. Now pools are beginning to open in different countries, so things are getting better and around 70% functionality in most places. But at the very, very beginning, we created some interesting social campaigns. For example, take a picture of you in a very creative way with your tail in your house. And then our mermaids take their photos in the bathtub and then on their sofa or on their balcony or even laying on the table. And these feeds went viral in our community and people start to get interested and motivated eventually. And also we created some land mermaid tutorial videos. For example, when we have the tail on our leg, we can actually treat it as a weight and do some push-ups, sit-ups, prank, or even leg lifting. And then we created a series of videos of that, and then people start to do it together. And we also have Zoom lessons together, and we can do those workouts together until the pools are open. And also there is one regional competition going on in Taiwan, which is called Aqua Challenge. It's actually the first underwater reality show worldwide. And we were the supporting organization of it, and then we promoted worldwide, where there were 10 finalists of the underwater models that they went to Taiwan, and they were shooting underwater with certain criteria. For example, you need to go finless without your fin. Maybe you need to use your outfit as recycled materials, something like that. And then through that competition, we created a lot of TV shows and also clips online so people can watch throughout. So I guess during COVID-19, the most important thing is create special touch and personal touch to each and every stakeholder and parties in order to feel them involved in this very sad pandemic time. Yeah.
Right, very creative way of doing marketing differently, right? Land mermaids, I've not heard of that. Yeah, maybe you could share some of your videos later, how you're gonna do your flipping, how do you swim, you know, dry swimming, right? In Asia or in Singapore, when we say dry swimming, it's mahjong, right? So I don't know whether it's the same in Hong Kong, but yeah, interesting, very creative. How about Alisa, share with us some of the tips and strategies for entrepreneurs to communicate better remotely, right? How should they motivate their teammates, staff better? Remotely, yeah. Alisa.
Yeah, I think I can answer this question on two fronts, like similar to Yuki, on the client front and also as a team and organization, right? So on the first front, with your clients, I deal a lot with parents and people who want to improve themselves. So these people have very strong aspirations for their kids to be better or to better themselves. And I think my number one tip would definitely be keep them warm. Keep them warm. Make them know that you're still here for them, that the shop is still open and you're flexible to work around the options that we have agreed, right? So we might have said, oh, okay, we meet in person 5 times at this place in downtown Bangkok. But then with the situation, I think it's better if we meet online and we can, you know, so say that it's actually going to be beneficial to them as well if we keep it flexible, if we keep the momentum going. And I think that this is how we're going to get trust. Parents especially, they are entrusting us to take care of their children. So it's very important that we show that we are trustable, right? So I think definitely keep them warm, show that you're flexible and listen to them. See what they need, see what they want, and try to adapt to them. Just be flexible. And I think in terms of employees and your organization, I think that as a leader, as an entrepreneur, you definitely have to be decisive and be firm about the directions that your team is going to take. My dad said it very nicely. He said that if the head moves, the tail will follow, right? So people don't like change. That's just a common fact, right? So as a leader, you've got to lead the way. If you want to turn around your organization to online communication, then lead the way. Show how Zoom works. Show how can we use that well. And also do your homework. I think as a leader, you gotta know like what's a feasible direction for your organization to move to. Like I myself in our Coach Alisa business, we studied other options in order to keep the revenue coming so that we have the cash flow to sustain the business, right? So we are looking into doing online learning platform. We're doing more content marketing on YouTube and how to like make a full-fledged marketing plan. So do a feasibility study, I would say, of what are the possible options that can keep our business running, you know, and lead the way. Show your team, be a role model. Show that you're adaptive, that you're persistent, and people will want to follow you because they look up to you anyways. You're the founder, right? So I think these would be my general thoughts on how you can communicate with your clients and with your employees.
Right, okay, any questions from the attendees? Right, feel free to type in the chat box. So one question about engagement, right? How digital you have become, right? We talk about digitalization, you know, but how do you use technology differently because of the pandemic? Who would like to share? Besides Zoom, yeah? Yeah, anyone? Like Debby, any systems that you use, you know, or Yuki, you know, to track?
Well, this period of time, we have done a lot of online testimonials to bring up the market focus. For example, we have done some incentive programs for our mermaid students that they will write their mermaid interviews and also submit their own mermaid photos, where they will talk about what is your ideal mermaid in your mind? What makes you interested to go into a mermaid course? How did you feel after attending this course? What do you think is different about yourself? And also some thoughts on ocean conservation and also the ocean kind of sensing. And then we will collect all these testimonials and feed all around our social media, which will tentatively bring people back the interest and also focus in going into the sport. And also we have done more online promotions than previously, and also done a lot of social campaigns and also promotion discounts. For example, the 双十一, the double 11, is it double 11? The double 11 thing, and also buy one get one free, or maybe if you have two friends coming together, I will give you more discounts kind of thing. And also with different promotions with if you're our ex-student or our student, we'll give you some discounts to buy some mermaid equipments, and also foster the sales for the equipment side, for the fin, for the tails, for the makeup materials, for the masks and the accessories kind of thing. So we did more of the online sales of the surrounding equipments. So we get people very geared up that they want to go in water because they have everything ready. So once the pools are ready, they are very excited to go back in the pools and go back to the ocean and have fun. Yeah, so I think it's more of doing a lot of online and social campaign stuff, and to bring them back with the motivation, then they will get excited to go back into the water when it's available.
Right, thanks for your sharing. So different types of social media campaigns or digital marketing campaigns that you've run. I feel personally that this time it kind of accelerated the need to use technology, not just for internal use, but also to monitor engagement levels as well with your customers. Because before, maybe, you know, I mean, for us, we even have our own systems or CRM or communication tools and whatnot, right? Cloud systems in place. And you see that maybe, you know, during this period, some people have left their jobs, and you see, you know, they're less engaged. Well, we've got your cat over. They're less engaged on some of your communication emailers, or, you know, they're no longer in the company and whatnot, right? So all of these we need to track, and the way we communicate with the customers is no longer the same. You can no longer cold call them. If they are not in the office, you can't cold call them unless, you know, you have their personal number. If you don't, can't really call the office. So we leverage a lot on other platforms like LinkedIn, if it's B2B, and B2C, I think like Yuki, what you mentioned was a lot on social media marketing. I think things have changed a lot. Any questions from the floor? I think there was one question for Debby from, I know Debby, you gotta leave soon. So there was one question with regards to H&M.
From Qatari, yes. Thank you for good question. Yeah, I mean, I guess all of us have seen H&M's conscious fashion, especially their advertising on it. There's basically, of course, two camps of people who feel strongly about this. People who think that H&M is perhaps green signaling, and this is just a bit of like something popular that they're just jumping on the bandwagon. On the other hand, there are people who feel like, you know, well, every little bit counts. And it is true that sometimes it's the bigger brands that need to lead the way. So, well, as I mentioned earlier, the issue of sustainability is something that I personally struggle with to define. So this is a great question. I personally, I guess, come in between a little bit of those two camps. I do feel that larger brands, they have all the resources to show us how to lead the way, to do better, basically. So to have in a sense, a small capsule collection that is conscious, I think they can definitely do better. But on the other hand, the very fact that they're even doing anything at all, I think it is still commendable. And we should all do our best in whatever little way we can. So that's my answer.
Right, there was another question for you with regards to conversion of online marketing endeavor to consider your marketing campaign is in good direction. I think the rest of the panelists could also share if you have insights on your online marketing campaign. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think we use really the fairly usual tools that are out there. So Google Analytics, we have a Facebook Pixel. We actually, Shopify also gives us pretty good data as well. And at this point, we have actually applied for a digital marketing grant from the Singapore government. So we're working with a third-party firm to improve our marketing statistics as well. So I think, especially in a time like COVID, where it's very difficult for small businesses, there's a good idea to see what resources are out there that can help support you.
Rest of the speakers, any other thoughts on how you measure your conversion? Yeah. How do you do things differently? I think Yuki, you've done a lot of campaigns. Feel free to share.
Well, my conversion is even more simple. It's because we have a backend system where the instructors will need to log in and certify students one by one to give them certificates. So it's basically a very direct correlation of how many online campaigns we have done or how many ads we have placed. And you will see in 2 weeks' time how many certificates are issued in the system. So that's like the direct correlation that we do to see whether it's working or not. Yeah.
Okay, I hope that answers your question. So Alisa, how are you marketing your business differently this season then?
We rely a lot on social media for sure. Primarily, we use Facebook because that's the platform where parents spend the most time on. They're not very complicated because we use Facebook, and the kind of content that we do is usually focused on how learning to speak well and have good communication can help their kids succeed in the long run, right? Because we're talking about parents who are willing to spend money despite the economic backdrop of like COVID-19. They're still willing to invest money in their children's soft skill. So I think we do a lot on Facebook. We do videos, tips, how to speak well and why kids should learn public speaking, something that showcased me as an instructor because it's a very high personal touch business. You gotta get the parents to like you. That's how this kind of business starts, right? So yeah, I do that. We are moving more into LinkedIn and YouTube next year, and that's because we're expanding into more working professionals like all of us here in the call. So that would be our main focus for next year, to expand our targeting. I think, but in terms of the messaging, it's not very different from the pre-COVID time, really. We just keep doing what we do.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. There's one final question. I think Debby will be the first to answer. I know you need to run after that. Just, as a leader, how do you motivate yourself when you hit a brick wall in your own business? I think this period is a time where, there are really downtime, right? Definitely very low, lowly motivated. There will be periods like this. So maybe Debby, you could share, how will you do things differently, and how do you even motivate yourself? And motivate your staff, right? Yeah.
No, for sure. I think it's a great question during this quite trying period. Actually, personally, I felt that a lot of my goals for Indigo culture for this year, we have not been able to achieve, or we did not achieve to the extent I thought was or should be possible at the start of the year. And personally, I that really demotivated me for a while. I was constantly anxious, asking, what could be better? What am I doing wrong? Maybe we should, I don't know, even maybe consider doing something else altogether. So what actually really put me out of this rut was being very upfront about my feelings to my partner, my COO, actually. So we do, well, she's actually based in New York. So we do a weekly team meeting, just the two of us, to check in with each other. And it's been great to have someone that you can rely on to unload to. And sometimes they just tell you, like, please wake up your idea. Remind yourself why you were in this, why you even started Indigo Culture to begin with. And, sometimes I just needed her to say that to me. And I do go back to why I started this, to tell stories, to make a meaningful change in fashion and lifestyle. So we sat together, we planned out all the things that we didn't manage to do this year because of COVID, and how we can achieve that next year with, a few tweaks here and there, being open-minded to changes and just being able to go in a different direction, but still looking forward. So that's been really helpful for me this year.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Debby. If you gotta go, thank you very much, Debby. Really appreciate you joining us. Yeah, it's supposed to be Melanie Lowe, but if some of you are wondering, hey, how come, it's supposed to be someone else speaking, but she has gotten a flu, she can't speak. And therefore, Debby is, on the spot, and she's willing to, share great insights with us today. Just a very short notice. Thank you so much, Debby. Yeah, we have a great,
No, at all.
Great evening.
Thanks, Renee.
Thank you.
I'm very glad to be here and to listen to everybody else and to meet all of you. Unfortunately, I do have to run right now, but it's been so great. Wishing all of you a lovely evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Debby. Okay, so we'll carry on with our discussion now, Yuki and Alisa, right? So Yuki, you mentioned that, because of the lockdown, right? And the pools are not open. Yeah, I'm sure you're feeling really, negative, right? You can't run your business. So how did you go about that? What were some of the feelings, and your thoughts, and how did you overcome them? Yeah.
Well, the most horrible period was actually February, March, April, which worldwide it was a very horrible situation overall in different countries. And I really have to say is, if you feel down at some point and your negativity is almost onto the hit, you got to just get away from your staff for a while and find something that you can release your stress. For example, for myself, during COVID-19, I bought a kayak, which is right beneath my house. So I can just go out and have fun and release my stress. So don't have your negativity directly in front of your staff, because they will be affected as well, because they will be like, my boss is also like this, so what can I do? So don't spread your negativity to them. If you think your negativity is onto the limits, just step away from a bit, and I guess they will be considerate and also respecting to you. And afterwards, when your emotions are all ready, you have to get back to your staff in your workplace, and you just got to bring up a smile and continue to move on and step into other shoe and think, during this time, if I have my client base, my existing instructors, what support do they need at this time to keep them happy and motivated? Therefore, we created all of these crazy and amazing social campaigns online, because these are something that they also need during this time to get through their times. Because when we cannot operate, our instructors cannot also teach in the pools. So we had to do something exciting, even though those 2 months we did not have a lot of income, but you just got to face it up, have a smile on your face. If you're not doing well, step back a little bit and find something that you can really relieve your stress. And also, I agree with Debbie as well, is you got to think about, why did you start with this thing? What was your motivation and your passion for this business? And just stick with it and hang with it. You can put all your post-it notes around your table. You can have your wallpaper to something that motivates you, and just keep yourself in a positivity vibe. Yeah.
How about yourself, Alisa?
Yes, actually, I saw Darshan's question and I really like it. Is it okay if I tackle that question? Okay. Thank you, Darshan, for your question. So if I were to give myself 3 tips to a 5-year younger version of myself, what would be the tips, right? So I love this question. I think the 3 tips that I would give myself, number 1 would be make stress your friend. So this is counterintuitive because we always think of stress as an enemy. Stress is bad for your health. It's going to make you die soon, sooner, right? So, but then I realized that as I progress in my own career, from leadership development at Unilever, from like a business development lead at Crimson, and now like the founder of my own company and a president of Bangkok Advance, it's like challenges just keep coming. It doesn't stop. And then COVID hit on the year that I started my business, right? So stress is just always going to be there. And it's just so how do I look at stress in a way that I can make peace with it, So in a way, stress is our bodily response so that we can cope with the challenges. So to look at it in a way that, to look at it in a way that help boost you and like make you perform, and I think that's something that we have to learn, how to be friends with your stress. And I think the second thing is to learn to recharge. I have always been an overachiever since I was very young, like going to a competitive high school, a competitive university, and now trying to make my mark as an entrepreneur in Thailand. So always aiming for the top. It gets tiring, but to learn to recharge and to sit back. I love reading, but how to keep my mind off things so I can read. So I think one thing that I really want to keep on doing is like to take a trip out of Bangkok every month, just to free my space and get some fresh air, some energy. So to make it regular, to know that you need a break from time to time, and it's okay to call it off. And to make time for yourself. I think that's really important, right? So number 2 is recharge. And then the last one is definitely keep your eyes on your goal. I think many people my age have this struggle of, I want to follow my passion, but then I need financial stability. So I'm going to work in banking first, or I'm going to do what my parents want me to do first. And then they have this internal struggle, like, my goal is right there, but I'm here doing this, right? So how do you live with this cognitive dissonance in your life? So as long as you know that you're here working in this company that you might not really want to work at, but if you know that you're learning and you're enriching your skills so that you can become an entrepreneur one day, because your goal is to become an entrepreneur, then I would say just go with this, like start with learning, just go with learning, enriching your skills, but keep your eyes on the goal, because eventually you make your way there, right? So my 3 tips would be make stress your friend, learn to recharge, and definitely keep your eyes on the goal. Thank you.
I've summarized that for you in the chat. So Yuki, so this is the last question, and then we're going to move on to networking. Yeah. So Yuki, your 3 tips to a 5-year.
The first thing is don't be afraid of starting your dream, because as Alisa said, a lot of people would choose to have a very stable job that earns a little bit, and you step back and decide to not chase for your dream. If you know that you're the kind of person that you don't want to sit 9 to 5, then if you're young, just step out of your comfort zone and try it. If you don't try, you never know. And the second thing is, as I'm now operating a team, I would say try to learn as many things as you can. Try to get to know every role of your company. For example, if you suck at math, you cannot do accounting, then force yourself to do accounting. If you're not a good designer for graphics, get to know about it, because every single time you never know what challenge you will face. For example, maybe your staff will leave your company and suddenly you have a vacancy, but your company has to go on. So you need to make sure you have the time, and whenever you have a time, learn as many things as possible in each and every role in your company. And the third thing is also make your stress your friend, because what doesn't kill you make you stronger. You never know what's going to be until you face your stress, and be a friend with it. And maybe the stress will actually make you do something differently. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your sharing. Okay. So it's networking time. Can we have everyone, all of the attendees on screen, don't be shy if you don't mind. Let's take a quick picture before we head into networking session, okay? Can we invite everyone on screen, please? All right.